Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Matty here. Now, this morning I decided to go ahead and refresh my kind of ladder ranks in Pokemon TCG Pocket to see what players were at the top of the Master Ball ranked ladder. And one player was at the very top. His name was Yu. I have no idea who this player is or anything about him, but I channeled my inner investigative side and I went to Twitter and I looked up this particular user and I did find his Twitter account and I found the exact deck that he is playing to reach #1 on the ranked ladder right now in Master Ball rank for this A3 season, and he is actually playing Giratina and Darkrai. Go figure, except he's actually playing it with the new Komala. So this is the deck list, the exact deck that the #1 ranked player at least posted on Twitter yesterday. So I figured, you know what, let's make a video on it, let's showcase this deck list. And yeah, coincidentally, it also got first place at the Godsley tournament this past weekend. So I think all signs really do point to Giratina and Darkrai with this new Komala tech being realistically probably the #1 deck in Pokemon Pocket right now. So that's what we're going to showcase here on the channel. This is the deck list: 2 Giratina, 2 Darkrai, of course, and then one of these new Komala. Now, Komala is a really interesting card. We'll get to it in a little bit. 2 Potion, 1 Red card, 1 Mars, so a little bit of hand disruption, a little bit of healing, 1 Pokemon Center Lady as well. 2 Research, 2 Pokeball, of course, 1 Giant Cape, 1 Rocky Helmet, all standard stuff, 1 Cyrus, 1 Sabrina, 1 Leaf, and then 1 Guzma. Now, I've seen some people playing Red instead of Guzma, and it kind of depends. I do think that Red could be really useful in some scenarios, but the upside to Guzma is that we can play it early and actually play it before we're going to be attacking, so it's a little bit better, I think, in some scenarios, specifically against those Grass-type decks. But either way, here is the deck list, and again, let's talk about Komala a little bit before we get into the gameplay. Now, Komala, realistically, is not a good card. I kind of said this when, this card was announced and the set was released, that Komala really isn't a strong Pokemon. It has a 90 HP colorless basic Pokemon, and it has the Rolling Tackle attack. It's weak to fighting, retreat cost of 2. It does 70 damage for 2 colorless energies, and it has the ability Comatose, which is kind of a downside ability. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, whenever you attach an energy from your energy zone to it, it's now asleep. So again, that's kind of a drawback. This Pokemon realistically isn't that good, but one thing it has going for it is that it does do 70 damage and it is a colorless Pokemon. So it is kind of the perfect tech for this Giratina and Darkrai deck, specifically to take out things like Oricorio, which of course do really, really well against Giratina and Darkrai. It's one of the only counters to Giratina Darkrai in the format right now. Komala kind of handles that. And of course, if we're attaching energies to Komala while it's on our bench, then it doesn't fall asleep and we can just kind of use it as a normal attacker. If we have 2 energies in Komala and then we're also able to attach to Darkrai on the turn that we attack, that goes to 90 damage, and that's also enough to KO Oricorio with Giant Cape if we don't draw our Guzma, but it's also enough to KO things like Tapu Lele, which is of course another new deck that's really, really good against Giratina and Darkrai. So yeah, this is the deck list, guys, and this is exactly what the #1 ranked player in Pokemon Pocket right now has been using to grind to that #1 spot. So I wanted to showcase it on this particular video. So let's go ahead and play some games on the ladder and see what we can do with this very, I guess, interesting deck list. We're going to be channeling our darkness in this video, as Joe Mazzulla likes to say. Yeah, listen, I apologize. This is not the video that I expected to make today. I have not played Giratina and Darkrai at all this entire season because I don't really want to. But again, for the purposes of showcasing you guys what the best decks are and what your best chances are if you're trying to climb in ranked battles, I'm going to go ahead and, take one for the team and play some Giratina and Darkrai for you guys on the channel. Again, it's not something that I would play in my own time, but for the purposes of showcasing what's best for you guys, I wanted to go ahead and play this. Again, really, really good. It's just a really strong deck list, so let's go ahead and do it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. We've just hit 20,000 subscribers, and it's been absolutely phenomenal, but still, I say it every day, 80% of you guys that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. So again, if you haven't checked, go down and look to see if you are subscribed to the channel, and if you watch my videos, maybe I deserve a subscription there. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to. All right, enough talking, guys. Let's get into it. We are currently at 1,604 points. I haven't been playing a ton of ranked battles, but I have been testing certain decks. We are rank 8,712, so I don't know, whatever that means. It's not great, not terrible, I suppose. But anyway, enough talking, guys. Let's get right into the gameplay. That was a bit of a long intro, but you know what? I like to give some context. A lot of you guys probably just maybe skipped ahead to the gameplay or whatever to see the deck list. Yeah, I mean, I figured, you know what? I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about why we're playing Giratina and Darkrai on the channel. So yeah, this deck's been doing really, really well. And again, I'm not super experienced with this particular deck, if we're being entirely honest with you. So I'm certainly not going to be as good as that #1 ranked player. We are playing a grass deck right off the bat. We've got Mars in our hand, which is always nice if this ends up being Meowscarada. Could be Arceus Carnivine. But we also have a Giratina EX right here in the active spot. It's the only Pokemon that we will be leading with, and we have a Rocky Helmet as well. So if this is Meowscarada, which it is, that's actually pretty good. Having both Mars and Guzma in hand is definitely really relevant. Those are cards that are specifically going to be good against this matchup. We can Guzma and discard those Leaf Capes, hopefully bringing, yep, there's the Leaf Cape there, hopefully bringing down these Pokemon to a range where we can KO with Giratina, but also Mars, to Mars them next turn after they go ahead. Oh, and the top deck Darkrai EX is certainly really, really good. Let's play the Pokeball right off the bat. Now, traditionally, Meowscarada is a deck that does well, and there's our Komala friend, which I don't think is going to be super useful in this matchup, so we're maybe not going to go ahead and utilize it. Again, Komala is a card that realistically makes this deck kind of worse in some scenarios, but what it does do, in fact, is it does make... do we want to Rocky Helmet the active is the question. I kind of want to hold off on the Rocky Helmet. Let's attach to the Darkrai for sure. We could preemptively Guzma, but I think what we're probably going to do is Guzma the turn we attack, probably. Because they could have another Leaf Cape, right? So we don't want to preemptively do that. I am actually just going to Rocky Helmet the active. They sometimes play red card and stuff, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And then, yeah, we're just going to pass our turn. 1 energy on the Darkrai, get some damage off on the Sprigatito and Broken Space Bella. Another thing to mention as well is, like, we might not end up needing to Guzma because the damage ping from Darkrai might reduce the HP on this particular Sprigatito or Meowscarada in the active enough for us to take the KO, but they do run Ericas and things like that, so they might heal up before, you know, they go ahead and do that. So he's going to play Research and then just attach and Cry for Help, which is actually kind of great for us. There's no other basic Pokemon for us to worry about, and our opponent does have 7 cards in hand, and we actually top deck the red card, which is hilarious. So this is certainly something that's going to be better to play now instead of Mars. Mars can provide more value in the late game. So we're just going to go ahead and play this red card and just drop them down 4 cards in their hand. Absolutely massive. Hand Disruption is extremely good, realistically in Pokemon Pocket, but also just really good against Meowscarada specifically. So I think we're just going to ride out here. We could play the Guzma this turn, but again, I don't really feel any need to play it right now. He could have a second Leaf Cape, and again, it might not even matter at the moment as well. So we're just going to go ahead, you know, ping the active, and then Broken Space Bella once again, hopefully putting our opponent in a position where he doesn't have the cards that he needs. Now, if he does go like Research, Cry for Help again, we could Mars next turn, which is hilarious. We're going to see the Pokeball, so he does get another basic. Is it going to be another Sprigatito? Is it going to be the Rowlet here? And he does go Pokeball Research, so looking like another back-to-back Hand Disruption play from us this turn. Let's see how many basics. So he probably only runs 3 basics in his hand here. He might not play anything else. He might just go ahead for the Cry for Help, and he does. Okay, so no rare candy this turn. Now that's 5 cards in the hand, but we know that one of those is a Grass-type Pokemon. So what I kind of want to do here, just straight off the bat, is probably just play this Mars, and again, drop him a little bit farther behind on Hand Disruption. He might be a little bit upset having seen us disrupt his hand back-to-back times, but, you know, this is what Giratina and Darkrai does. Now, we do have the option, potentially, if we wanted to retreat out and just attack with Darkrai, but then we would be discarding the energies from Giratina, and I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. We see double Sprigatito down on the board. We do have a potion in hand, so if he does Rare Candy Evolve and attack us, we should still be able to take the KO next turn with Giratina and not go down because we have the potion. So I'm actually going to go ahead and probably wait another turn and get both of my Pokemon set up. And that way, we can kind of guarantee that at least we have back-to-back attacking options. Very unlikely that he goes double Meowscarada in the next couple of turns, because he did already play both of his researches, which is pretty relevant, so he doesn't have any more ways to draw cards. We're talking a lot in this video. We're doing a lot of talking, less playing, but I like to explain sort of my strategy here. We've definitely gotten a little bit lucky in this matchup, but that's why we play Mars, and that's why we play red card. There's the Rowlet. 3 cards in hand. Does he have a rare candy pop off right now? That would be pretty substantial if he did. He is going to go ahead and just Cry for Help, and he is going to go ahead and just attach to that bench Sprigatito. So interesting situation for us to be in fact. Let's play this Pokeball, thin it out of the deck list. Now, unfortunately for us, because we don't have Giant Cape, if we are to attack the active here and take the KO with Giratina, we do go down to 130, which is, again, it's going to put us in range of getting KO'd, and Darkrai does get 1-hit KO'd. So it's kind of an interesting scenario. We're kind of hoping that he just doesn't pop off next turn. So what I'm going to do here is, you know what, it actually kind of feels a little bit bad, because next turn, like if we had the Sabrina here, it would feel a lot better, I think. But let's go ahead. I'm just going to bench this Darkrai. And then I think what we're just going to do is commit to the active, realistically. Yeah, we're just going to take the KO and hope that he doesn't get what he needs. Because, again, a Meowscarada setup here is going to put us in a bad position. I am going to just bench the Komala as well, which probably is not smart, but again, we're just going to go ahead and do it. And yeah, let's just attack and KO the active here. Unfortunately, he did cry for help. He's got 4 cards in hand, so if we do see a Meowscarada rare candy combination here, we are going to get KO'd, and then he can back-to-back KO us. Again, it's just kind of a tough spot. There's really no way around that when you're playing Giratina and Darkrai, is that, if you don't have Giant Cape, there's really nothing you can do. He's probably just going to take the KO back-to-back with Meowscarada here. Now, okay, so we see the Dartrix. Now, do we see the rare candy Meowscarada? That would certainly be pretty fortunate for him here. But if he doesn't, then we're certainly not in a bad position. Okay, that's great. That's great for us. We got a little bit lucky. He still has 8 cards in deck, or 7 now. So I think we've gotten a little bit lucky for sure. Now, this is what's really interesting, is the Sabrina play here. Now, let's do a little bit of math, because we have Guzma in our hand, right? So if we were to Sabrina up the Dartrix and take the KO, what we could do is ping or attach Darkrai, ping the active, which will bring Meowscarada to 140 down to 120. Still not enough for us to KO with Darkrai, which is a little bit disappointing, in fact. So just sort of thinking, what we could do is attach to the active Giratina, KO the active, retreat maybe, and KO the active. Actually, I don't know. If we KO the active, it doesn't really matter much anyway, right? So I think what we're going to go ahead and do is just kind of potion. I think we're thinking a little bit too much about this. I'm more afraid of the Meowscarada, honestly, than I am the Decidueye. So we are just going to go ahead and KO the active. It's pretty likely that he does go Decidueye next turn. But that's fine, because he's not going to KO us and we can hit him twice. So I think that should put us in a winning position. We also have Rocky Helmet on the active to do a little bit more damage. So I haven't done all the math in my head right now, but I just kind of think that this is the best case scenario. No Meowscaradas for our opponent here, but again, pretty likely that we see the Decidueye. And if he does attack with Decidueye, then it is what it is. We can attack with Giratina and then attack with Darkrai. That's totally fine here. Now, we can't retreat because he can just go ahead and attack the... attack the bench, right, with Pierce the Pain. So he's going to go ahead and hit us for 100, which again is a little bit rough. Now, if we attack, we go down to 10 damage, so that's totally fine. But we are doing a little bit of chip damage here, which is really relevant. So I think even if he does play the Erika's next turn, we should have enough to take the KO. I think he conceded. Yeah, okay, he took the concede. Okay, all right. We maybe overthought that a little bit, but when I'm playing gameplay on the channel, I tend to overthink things, and I tend to keep talking just because I want to explain my thought process. It's kind of hard to do. It's hard to make decisions while also describing everything that's going through your head in that moment. But one win against a deck list that otherwise is kind of a bad matchup for us. But, the upside to playing Darkrai and Giratina is that, we're just so consistent. We don't have to worry about finding all of those evolution Pokemon in the rare candies. To me, it's really the one reason why Giratina and Darkrai, even in this new format with rare candy everywhere, is still the top deck of Pokemon Pocket. And we're now playing against you. Not me, you. Not you, but you. Okay. Now he also, it might be playing Sprigatito here. Let's go ahead and see what his deck list is. It's actually Psychic, so this is probably going to be Tapu Lele. That's really the only Psychic energy deck that we see play right now, and this is certainly a very interesting matchup. It really kind of comes down, I believe, to whether or not they get Greninja out early enough. We do have Red Card and Mars in hand once again, and I believe we are going second. So that is somewhat relevant. If we see a research here, we can research next turn on our own, and then red card down our opponent's hand. Let's go ahead and see what they get here. Again, we're definitely afraid of an early Greninja. There's really not much we can do. He did lead off with Giratina, and there's the research, so he should be able to double up on Giratina and just put himself in a position basically to take a KO, which is a little bit scary for sure. And if we do see that Greninja coming out on turn 2 or turn 3, there's really not much we can do. And there's double Froakie, which is, again, absolutely terrifying for us. And there's just realistically nothing that we can do to seeing a Greninja early on, because it just sort of whittles us down and he can just kind of take KO. So let's go ahead, pull the research here. We don't get another Pokemon, no Pokeball, and that is certainly a little bit rough. So we don't have our own Giratina to set up right now, and that certainly feels a little bit bad. But we're going to go ahead and we're just going to chip down this Giratina. Now, what we can do is maybe Sabrina next turn. I am going to actually red card here. I know it's only one card. He got a little bit fortunate just by dropping a bunch of basics, so his hand wasn't really that full. Would have been better for us if he didn't drop down, 2 basic, Froakies, because it's still very likely that he gets that Greninja out. So I would still say Tapu Lele is probably our worst matchup here, and he is just going to go ahead and get the turn 2 Greninja combo out. So this basically means I think we lose, especially without a Giratina here. I just don't see any scenario where we can beat a Giratina Greninja combination here that's fully set up on turn 2. He's also literally primed and ready here. Now, again, realistically, the only thing I guess we can do is play the Sabrina this turn and then hope that we maybe draw basic Pokemon next turn, but it's very, very unlikely. We're actually going to ping before we Sabrina. because we also do have Cyrus, so that is somewhat relevant. We might be able to cheat this out a little bit, but it's just not super likely. Hopefully he doesn't have like a retreat card, I would say. But let's, I am going to potion the active. I'm kind of preemptively don't really want to put Rocky Helmet down because technically if we had Giant Cape, well, I guess it doesn't really matter because we don't have it this turn. So yeah, I think we're just going to pass. Although I don't want to get like red carded or anything. So I might just Rocky Helmet the active just to kind of maybe entice him, hopefully to not have that, you know, that red card or that Mars in hand and play it. So hopefully he doesn't, but we do have Cyrus in hand. So technically we can take a KO on this Giratina next turn. He's going to evolve the Frogadier, and then he has Guzma, which is totally fine. I don't really care about the Rocky Helmet that much. Now let's see. He's going to Water Shuriken for sure. He's going to do all of this stuff that we assumed. But we might be kind of saved here. It's still a little bit sketchy if we do not have a basic Pokemon. Another basic Pokemon to play. He is just going to hit us, which again is a little bit terrifying. But he's only playing Psychic Energies, most likely. There's another Darkrai. So here's the deal. We should, right? 120 is what we can hit on Giratina. So the Sabrina into the Cyrus technically might have saved us here in this matchup. Our opponent might be malding just a little bit. But again, channeling our darkness, our internal darkness here. And we should be able to take the KO on this Giratina, and that hopefully puts us in a decent position, at least with another Darkrai on our bench. So we got a little bit lucky, but so did our opponent, quite frankly, getting that Greninja out turn 2 and starting with the Giratina. So let's just sort of take a step back here and hope that we can get the win. He is, of course, going to go into his Greninja. That way he can live and attack, but I think we're in a fairly decent position here. He is going to research. Now, if he takes a KO, we can play Mars, but I'm still a little bit afraid of just something. Like a Tapu Lele could potentially just sort of still get him the win here if he is able to get that down this turn. But we'll see. So he attaches to the Greninja, and that's good for us. That basically means he doesn't have a Tapu Lele or another Giratina to put on the bench. And now he's kind of, I think, understanding that he might not be in a great position here. I feel kind of bad because, you know, we're doing very much Giratina and Darkrai things in this video. But, you know, that's the big reason, guys, why Giratina and Darkrai is so good. Because it's just so consistent, and it has so many routes in which you can win the game. Let's go ahead and play this Pokeball. And if it's a Giratina, okay, it's Komala, which I don't really want to bench, actually. I'd rather force him to go through double Darkrai's, but I think we're in a good position here, relatively speaking. Now, the one thing about Tapu Lele and Giratina is that they don't really typically, I should say, play water energies, which means Greninja isn't super useful if we don't have another Psychic Pokemon as an attacking option. Now, we have used both our Sabrina and our Cyrus, so we have no other way to do anything other than basically just attack here, turn after turn. He's going to hit us with the Iono. That's fine. Our hand wasn't anything that incredible. Some healing might be pretty good here. Another Pokeball, a potion, and a Guzma. Okay, let's see what he grabbed off of this Iono. Another Greninja is scary. It's actually quite terrifying. And yeah, he's got to go into this Greninja. It's really the only play for him. And he's going to hit for 40 more damage, which means that next turn we're getting KO'd. So let's see exactly. He actually pings one on the bench. That's probably a smart play as well. Probably expecting maybe to have a Cyrus play to stall for an additional turn. This is certainly a smart play, I think, from our opponent. And if he does draw the Tapu Lele, he can hit us for 60, and that'll be a KO. So I think that's a smart play from our opponent here. We do draw the Research, which let's Pokeball before we research. Maybe grabbing this Komala for a second time. No, okay, that would have been funny. Okay, so I don't know if I really want to bench the Giratina here. Let's go ahead and play Research first, and then we'll kind of decide what the better option is. Giant Cape and Mars is kind of cool. Okay, so just thinking here really quickly. He can do, technically, if he goes down, if he finds a Tapu Lele next turn, he can hit for 60 on the active, plus, what is it, 100, right? Or plus 40, which is 100. So if we Giant Cape and Potion the active, and we only have 2 energies on the bench, then I think we're safe from getting KO'd, even with a Tapu Lele next turn, which I think is probably our best case scenario. So he already played Guzma, I believe. So let's go ahead, play the Giant Cape on the active, and play Potion. This will put us above 100 HP, and no matter what, I don't think that he can KO us next turn, even if he does put down a Tapu Lele. And we're going to have some decent pressure here, hopefully putting him in a really good position. Now, we should be able to hit for 100 damage and KO Tapu Lele next turn. So I think this should be kind of game. I think we have our game. Yeah, so there's the Tapu Lele. Now, again, that Giant Cape Potion combination was massively clutch because now he can't actually KO anything. But what he can do, technically, is play Cyrus this turn, maybe bring up something, bring up the bench Darkrai. But again, we should be able to KO Tapu Lele in the active, unless he maybe has Giant Cape, but we have Guzma in hand, so we really have game. I think we have game basically every single way here. And as we see, going to be living on 10 HP here. Just a great combo between the Giant Cape and the Potion. And that's going to be GG from our opponent there. Absolutely crazy wins back-to-back with this Giratina Darkrai deck. Now, we haven't utilized Komala. And to be fair, I think we all understand what Giratina and Darkrai does, aside from Komala, but I would like a matchup maybe where we can utilize Komala. It's realistically not something, like I said, that's really worth playing unless we're in that Oricorio matchup and we can take that KO in an Oricorio quite easily. So maybe we're on a 3-game win streak. We're ranking up a little bit, which is always good. But again, I do want to showcase that Komala because it is really useful in a variety of different matchups. Well, not a variety, I should say. I guess predominantly Oricorio. Maybe we'll hit an Oricorio because, again, that's sort of the whole point of Komala. So I'd like to showcase that in this video. But, we can't control the opponents we play, and we can't play Pokemon Pocket all day here. Okay, so now we have Oricorio. I assume we have Oricorio coming up, which is definitely pretty good. At least we can showcase it. Now, I will say, Komala is not going to guarantee that we can beat Oricorio. They are typically playing Shaman, they're playing Iridas and things like that, and Giant Capes. So if we don't draw Komala, and if we don't just draw well in general, then yeah, I mean, technically we can still lose versus Oricorio. So hopefully we don't choke this one game against Oricorio that, of course, the whole point of Komala is to showcase. He does get the Froakie out and he leads with Oricorio, but he is going first. So we should have that advantage here. We have Pokeball and we have Research. I am actually going to play Research first, further increasing the odds that we can maybe find that Komala. And let's see what we draw into here. We draw into another Darkrai and a Sabrina. Now let's pull the Pokeball. I wouldn't mind Giratina here. Okay, so no Komala yet. That's a little bit disappointing, in fact. But let's just bench all of these Pokemon, and we'll leave that last spot for Komala. Yeah, certainly a little bit unfortunate, I would say. Now, we do have PCL and Potion in the hand with Sabrina as well, which I actually don't mind. We're going to Rocky Helmet the active. I think they play Guzma a lot, oftentimes in this deck. We're going to attach active and then Broken Space Bellow. Very standard Giratina and Darkrai stuff here. We have got basically all of our Pokemon other than Komala, so a little bit unfortunate, but 11 cards in deck, another Pokeball, another Research. Hopefully we get that Komala soon. It's certainly, I would probably assume, worth attaching energies preemptively to it. We're going to see a turn 2 Greninja here. Back-to-back games from our opponents here. Just getting those turn 2 Greninjas out. Definitely a little bit disappointing to see from us, for us, because the likelihood of you getting Greninja out on turn 2 is pretty unlikely, but our opponents seem to have done it back-to-back times. There's literally all of our Pokemon except Komala, so let's just Potion the active. We do have Rocky Helmet on our active Pokemon, so that should put a little bit of pressure on our opponent here. He did target the active, which makes me think he does not have Cyrus in hand at least, which is definitely really good. And what we can do next turn is potentially play Sabrina and then start, kind of targeting down this Greninja. But we'll see. He might heal this turn. He doesn't have any water energy, so he can't play Irida. So if he does attack us, he's going to put himself in a position to get KO next turn, which is definitely a decent position for us to be in. I think he just top-decked the Oricorio as well, so I'm presuming he doesn't have Cyrus in his hand. He's going to Water Shuriken. What does he target here? It's still the active. Okay, so definitely no Cyrus in hand from our opponent here. And I guess we're just going to wait and see if he attacks the active. No, he's going to retreat. That's the smart play. That is certainly the smart play. Now, I'm wondering here if potentially the early Sabrina here might be still really good. Okay, so the Research makes me not want a Sabrina, in fact. So I think that's probably actually what we do here. And of course, there's no reason to attack yet. So we're just going to play the Research. And we see the Mars and the Guzma. Okay, so 7 cards in deck, still no Komala. Again, I'm trying to showcase Komala, so Komala. I keep saying like Kamala Harris, but I'm not. I'm saying Komala. So some people are probably going to comment about that. Komala? I don't know. They sound similar. Let's just target the active, or attach the active rather. Do a little bit more damage here. We do have Pokemon Center Lady in our hand, and we still do have Sabrina. Let's go ahead and just Broken Space Bellow. And then hopefully we can just draw Komala, because Komala should allow us to, put a lot of additional pressure and I guess just give us an ability to KO the active. Now, we haven't seen a Giratina from our opponent, which is pretty good. Now, he actually attaches the bench. So this is crazy. I think he's really waiting here for a Cyrus. I think that's realistically kind of what he wants. That way he can maybe bring up something that isn't Rocky Helmet. And a little bit fortunate for him that we don't have Komala yet, because we would have been able to do a lot of stuff here. He is going to Pokemon Center Lady, so they sometimes run Pokemon Center Lady. Not always, but they sometimes do. And there's Giant Cape, so interesting for sure. I think we just, well, okay. Let's think a little bit here. We could heal up with Pokemon Center Lady, for sure. We could definitely do that. But we also have Giant Cape. Now, I kind of want to hold Giant Cape for when we draw Komala. So I kind of... Well, if we Sabrina, he's just going to go into the other Oricorio, right? So it's probably not really worth us doing that. I am going to hold Giant Cape. I am just going to Pokemon Center Lady the active. I think just getting that healing off is going to be somewhat relevant for sure. And yeah, we're just going to kind of ride out here. It might have been better, but to be fair, if he draws Cyrus, he's going to be able to bring up something with Greninja that turn anyway, right? So yeah, I think we're just kind of waiting. Unfortunately, no Komala. In the one matchup where we need it, we just haven't seen it. 6 cards in deck, 1 Pokeball, and 1 Komala. So 2/3 of our deck is our Komala. So he is going to go ahead and research. That's fine. I mean, we could Mars next turn, but I assume a basic Pokemon or Pokeball is going to be put down here. Yep, there's the Shaman. No, that's really good. So it took him a while to get Shaman out, but he did have Pokemon Center Lady. So realistically, what Shaman does now is allow him to kind of stall for a little bit longer and kind of wait to get that that Cyrus play out. So now we're definitely really pressured, I would say. And he is going to have the water energy. He's going to attach it to the Greninja. This is a smart play from him. Now, at this point, I assume he's... Okay, so still no Cyrus. 6 cards in his deck. We're both even at 6 cards. And he's not going to attack. So he's still stalling. Again, probably smart plays from our opponent. Did he Flagrant Flower that turn? I don't even know if he did. Still no Komala from us. A little bit disappointing, for sure. Definitely a little bit disappointing. I am actually just going to red card. This is getting a little bit iffy. If Komala's the last card in our deck, I don't know how this matchup goes for us, because we are definitely very reliant on it. So yeah, I think we're just gonna pass. We're just passing here. This matchup is fun for sure. Like the game would have gone very differently if Komala was something that we had, because now like what he can do is basically just sort of bring up the Greninja and KO Komala. Because we just don't have it out early enough, which is certainly a little bit scary. Now, if we are able to Giant Cape Komala, that's a different story here. Here comes the Guzma. So he does have the Guzma as well. Kind of to be expected, I'll be honest with you. So now we're in a little bit of an awkward position for sure, because Cyrus is going to be able to KO the Darkrai. Actually, no, we have Potion, which is good, although he can still KO the active. But yeah, we're going to play that Potion regardless. Still no Komala. 4 cards in deck. That's literally the only thing I need here is our Komala. But unfortunately, we just don't have it. Now, what we could do is Giant Cape the active, and then bait him into bringing in Greninja. I kind of wanted to save it for Komala, but this would bring us up to 80 HP, which means that Greninja Ping with Oricorio would not be enough to KO it, which for a turn, which would probably be more beneficial than not. So that's actually what we're going to do. And maybe he brings up the Greninja and we could take a KO that way. That would be pretty cool, for sure. Now, we could also play Sabrina. If we Sabrina this turn, I think we want to hold Sabrina for after we maybe take a KO with Komala. So I think we have to pass yet again. Very unfortunate. And again, now because he's probably going to have Cyrus in hand, if we do bench the Komala, he can just kind of KO it with Greninja. But if he does bring up Greninja, then of course we can just sort of KO it with Giratina. But that still doesn't put us in a great position. With Shaman, I think we always lose, especially if that Komala goes down. And the fact that he has the Greninja out and Komala has taken way too long, I just don't really foresee that happening. Now, okay, so he's going to research. Now, he's only got 3 cards in deck. Now, if we get Komala next turn, theoretically, I don't think we have a great chance now, because we just haven't seen Komala in the one game where we needed it. Yeah, so he's going to hit the Darkrai right here, bring us down to 10 HP. So what this means for me, okay, still no Komala. Craziness. I wanted to just showcase a game with Komala, but unfortunately, we genuinely have no hope of winning if that's going to be the case, unfortunately. Yeah, I think we just lose. 3 cards in deck with Pokeball and Komala, so that is rather unfortunate for sure, I would say. Yeah, and I don't know how. I don't know what we can do here. I guess we'll let him take the KO, and then we can Mars him next turn. Maybe that's kind of the hope here, but again, he can always just bring up Greninja and take the KO on the Komala. So that's sort of our only hope at this point. Stalling for a turn here with Giant Cape, like, maybe was relevant, but, like, maybe not at the same time. I think we have another potion in the deck as well. Does it matter really what we bring up here? It does, actually. I'm going to bring up Darkrai. Probably didn't matter that much. Do I even include this game in the video? Because the whole point of us playing Komala was for this matchup. But the one time we play this matchup in the video, we don't have Komala. So Pokemon Center Lele comes up. Now all of his Pokemon are at full HP. Again, very not good for us for sure. But theoretically speaking, if we draw Komala this turn and then maybe Potion next turn, we have a chance. Okay. All right. Somehow, and I'm saying this genuinely, somehow we have 2 cards in our deck. And those 2 cards are literally Pokeball and Komala. So somehow, in literally the only matchup that we needed it, we drew every single card in our deck without getting Komala. So that's pretty bad. And I think we're just going to take the L, quite frankly. That's tough. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty tough. What are the odds, in fact, of that happening? I want to include this game in the video because it's just kind of crazy to me that this exactly happened. But I do want to at least showcase our opponent that the last card in our deck is Komala. So I assume that, of course, we're going to lose this game. But I do just want to show our opponent that we had Komala in our deck and that we unfortunately just did not draw it at all. So I'm not going to concede now. Let's go ahead. There's the Komala. So watch. I'll show our opponent. I'll say, hey, look, we're running Komala. But unfortunately, it took us all game to draw it. So shout out to our opponent there. We got a little bit unlucky, and unfortunately, like I said in the beginning of that game, even though you run Komala, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win the matchup, because of course you need to draw Komala in order to win that matchup. Let's play one more game, and maybe we can Oricorio and get some play against Oricorio and maybe showcase what Komala can do in that matchup. I mean, geez Louise, turn 2 Greninja from our opponent, and no Komala. The last card's in our deck. M8 Leo is our next opponent here. Maybe it's Oricorio. Maybe we play the Oricorio now. Let's see. We are going first, and we are playing Oricorio, it seems, and we actually lead off with Komala, which is actually not good, quite frankly. But at least we have it. Oh, okay. It is Oricorio, but it's Magnemite Oricorio, which is interesting. Okay. All right, let's start off with Pokeball and then Research because we have Komala. Now, Magnezone is a little bit scary, of course, because, you know, it can KO Komala. Okay, so Rocky Helmet comes out and a second Darkrai, so no Giratina is a little bit unfortunate for sure. We are going to bench both of these. And now it puts us, we do have Leaf, which is quite good, actually. So next turn we can Leaf. Now, do we red card turn 1? We probably don't. I am going to actually Rocky Helmet just Darkrai because I'm going to Leaf into it here. Now, we are probably going to take some damage this next turn with the Komala, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's totally fine. Because we do have potions and stuff in the deck. We have 2 potions in the deck. There's the Research. That's why we held the red card. Hopefully, he doesn't drop like 5 basic Pokemon and, you know, get rid of his entire hand. So there's a Pokeball. Hopefully, we don't see like 3, again, just like 3 basic Pokemon because that would definitely be unfortunate for us. There's the Oricorio. He attaches the active. All good plays from our opponent. He's going to Giant Cape. Giant Cape the Oricorio. So that's relevant for sure. Now, we are playing Guzma in the deck. And, of course, like I said, we can do 90 damage technically in 1 turn with Komala. But, yeah. Okay, so we have our own Giant Cape. So let's go ahead and red card immediately. He's only got 4 cards in hand, but I would rather red card now than later. So let's red card, and I think we're gonna play Leaf and then probably attach Darkrai. I would like to put some pressure on our opponent, at least with Darkrai. So let's do that. I'm trying to think, is it actually better for us to attach to Komala preemptively? That's sort of what I'm curious about. Let's cape the Komala, and hopefully we draw into a potion. But yeah, I think we always just keep attaching Darkrai here, and just hope that he doesn't go like Magnezone turn 3. But even if he does, like, we should have enough going for us to take the KO, which is good for sure. Definitely relying on drawing off the top deck, though, I would say. Okay, so a second Research. So we red carded him into Research, and he also led off with Research. So our opponent's flying through his deck. He's going to be definitely kind of positive on the card advantage here, and he does bench the second Oricorio. Do we see the Magnezone, though, or the Magneton? That's kind of what I'm curious about. Because that would make the matchup a little bit scary for sure. Now we do have Cyrus, which is good because the damage that we're doing onto this Magnemite means that we can bring it back up into the active, and he is attaching to the bench, which makes me feel like he's probably going to retreat here. And that's relevant for us, for sure. Definitely relevant. Because we can bring this back up and KO it, and then let Komala just kind of sweep, which would be pretty cool. So, okay, so research is super nice. I like that. We are going to commit and just keep attaching to the active here. And we're going to kind of slow burn our opponent, especially if next turn we're able to KO this Magnemite, which we should be able to. And that potion I love for sure. And the Darkrai, which we will bench, and I'm going to potion up the Komala, bring it up to full HP so that we can't get Cyrus or anything crazy like that. And then let's go ahead and play let's just Broken Space Bellow. And then, like I said, with Cyrus, we can bring up this Magnemite next turn, and that is definitely relevant, I would say. We don't even need to attack if he doesn't evolve. We can just sort of Cyrus and then KO. Now, typically this deck doesn't play Rare Candy because you kind of rely on that Magneton. He is just going to manually retreat. That's good for us. We are going to take 50 here, and he does evolve, but that's totally fine. We are 1,000% targeting down this Magneton and KOing it next turn. That is most certainly exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to ping the active before we do that. Actually, it doesn't really matter, but we're going to do that no matter what. This is our only Cyrus of the deck. Now, we are in a little bit of a sketchy scenario because we're kind of reliant on Komala for the following couple of turns here. So it is what it is, but I'm hoping that Komala puts in work here. Now, this is, of course, the Magnezone and Oricorio matchup. This is not the Greninja and Oricorio matchup, which we just got absolutely bodied in, but at least we can showcase a matchup against Oricorio. Now, he is going to take some Rocky Helmet damage, which, again, is really relevant. Really nice that we had that Rocky Helmet damage, and Cyrus in hand is super, super good for us. That Mars could be really good as well after he KOs. So I am going to actually ping the active, attaching to Darkrai. And then let's Cyrus up this Magneton, take the KO, which is good because this is a massive threat. That's his primary damage dealer. So we're going to be able to KO this Magneton, and hopefully he doesn't just bench another Magnemite and then pop off. But now we should be able to take a couple of turns and potentially go into our Komala to take the KO. That's really the hope here. Maybe we draw into some healing, maybe we don't. Really, one potion is all we need. And he is actually going to go back into this Oricorio. So I'm assuming he might have some healing here. He's going to Pokeball, so that's really good for him, actually. That's actually really nice for him to find that Magnemite. And he does have the healing, so that's a really good turn from our opponent there. And benching this is huge for him. He only has 6 cards in deck, so very likely that in the next couple of turns, we're going to be staring down a... but we can Broken Space Bellow for the next couple of turns, so that's also something to keep in mind. And I'm actually going to keep in the active Darkrai here, which is probably not super smart. But this turn, what we're going to do, yeah, because I want the Rocky Helmet damage, so I want to put that pressure on him, assuming that he doesn't have another healing card. But I think they run 2 Pokemon Center Lady. But let's attach to Komala. I am going to actually Guzma this turn. And then we can spend the next couple of turns Broken Space Bellowing. Well, actually not. I guess we only have 1 turn to do that, but that's also probably fine. So let's just Broken Space Bellow. And then now, kind of no matter what happens, if he attacks the active, what we can do is technically go into like, Darkrai and Ping or something like that, or go into Giratina and Ping, which would certainly be pretty good. He is going to Potion, so he does have another healing card. That's definitely relevant. We did not draw our second Potion or a Pokemon Center Lady, which would have kept our Darkrai alive. But we don't see a Magneton here, which is massive for us, because now we can just go into Komala, take the KO, and then no matter what, he doesn't have a Magneton next turn. And that is pretty relevant for sure. It's a little bit sketchy, though, because if he, he's going to go into Magnemite, right? So, okay, so there's the potion, but we always just take the KO here. And I think we Mars him down to 1 card to hopefully stop him from evolving that Magnemite. Oh, I forgot that we fall asleep after we attach. Oh, no! The misplay. That's actually maybe fine still. We just have to wake up, because we do have the potion in hand, and we have Giant Cape on the Komala. So we are going to Mars him down to 1, and we're going to Broken Space Bellow. It is actually a little bit unfortunate. I forgot that Komala falls asleep when you attach when he's in the active spot. My inexperience is showing. We also flip tails. That is terrifying. So now we have to flip heads next turn, or else we're actually kind of cooked. And that scares me for sure. No, Komala. Wake up, Komala. Komala, come on. Does he get the Magnemite this turn? He doesn't. He's just going to zap us. Okay, we also have Pokemon Center Lady in our hand. Do we flip heads? Let's go. Massive. Let's go, Komala. Clutch Komala. We love to see that. And the Sabrina's crazy as well, actually. But yeah, we're always going to Potion. That actually puts us out of range of Magneton KOing, I think, as well. I'm just going to attach to Giratina here this turn. And then, yeah, we're just going to attack and KO. And now, basically, I think we have this game on lock. Whether he brings up Magneton and evolves, we can go into Giratina and take the KO. Or if he goes into Oricorio, we can just KO back with Komala. So I think we've kind of got the W here, which is nice. Unless he, like, goes crazy here and has rare candy Magnum. He might play one rare candy. That would be crazy. No, there's the Magneton. Okay. So the potion did end up kind of being GG because he would have been able to KO us for 60. So, actually, he might have Guzma. No! No, he had the Guzma. No. 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 Komala, I was talking so highly about you, Komala. No. No, that's terrible. Oh, no. All right. You know what, guys? Listen. Komala didn't necessarily pull through for us in this video. Maybe it was my own misplays. Maybe it was me not properly utilizing Komala. Listen, whatever the scenario was, and you guys can pick apart the games down in the comment section, at least we were able to maybe showcase what Komala had in that particular video there. A little bit unfortunate, for sure, for our opponent to get the Magnemite or Magneton and have, of course, the Guzma in his hand here. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but you know what? Listen, guys. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying the gameplay was perfect, but what I am saying is that this deck list here, technically, even though we went, 0 for 2 on the Oricorio decks, theoretically, you should have a much better matchup against the Oricorio decks than you otherwise would if you weren't playing Komala in your deck list. Unfortunately, like we just saw there, we got absolutely cooked, but it is what it is. Komala is still really good, and I think that the little bit of downside that it brings to your deck list by, of course, making it a little bit less consistent and Komala itself not being necessarily a phenomenal Pokemon in matchups other than Oricorio, it should certainly massively increase your odds of beating Oricorio. Therefore, realistically, just making Giratina and Darkrai, I think, right now, by far the best deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket. It's had the most win rates. It got first at the Gods League tournament this weekend. And like I said, the #1 ranked player in Pokemon Pocket was playing this exact deck list. And I'm sure he had better luck against Oricorio than I did. So, unfortunately, we couldn't get the W against the Oricorio decks. But you know what? It's not all about winning. Sometimes it's about losing. Which, quite frankly, we do quite a bit here on the channel. But anyway, guys, peace out. Have a good one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. We'll probably give some more of an update on what I believe are the other best decks in Pokemon Pocket tomorrow. And yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Peace out. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you guys later. Bye.